Okay, we will go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Esports 101 webinar brought to you by the Michigan High School Esports League. My name is Ryan Casey. I'm the Director of Esports for MHSEL, and this is just a good slide to maybe take a screenshot of or take a picture of it. I will share this slide deck with you, but a lot of good contact information on there from our website to a phone number to the office to an email. And then some of our social media for X, Discord, and Twitch as well. We don't have a ton of people on this webinar today. I know trying to squeeze this in before the holiday break can be difficult. We are going to run another version of this later in January for those who aren't able to make today. But if you are willing and able, I would just like to know where the people on this call are from or what role. I know we have high school people here. We started doing middle school esports back in last spring. So I know we have middle schools that are starting to reach out to us to learn how to get started. So feel free to put any of that information in the chat. Again, we have a small group, so we'll be fine going through the chat. If you want to use the Q&A to ask a question, you can also absolutely raise your hand and I can unmute you if that's easier. I am fine with any of those, so feel free to stop me as we go through. I'll stick around and answer questions at the end. And again, you'll get a copy of the slide deck and this recording. So if you want to share this with your administration, or if you're an administrator, you want to share this with a potential coach, that'll make it easy to do so. So just to clear up, sometimes there's a little bit of confusion with who does what with this league and what different leagues are out there, that sort of thing. So we are MHSEL, that is the Michigan High School Esports League. And again, even though it has the word high school in there, we do operate middle school esports as well. We are actually hosted by MASSP, which is the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals. So I am a former high school and middle school principal. I actually work for MASSP. Other part of my job is to manage our online professional learning opportunities. We also have a student side of our organization called the Michigan Association of Student Councils and Honor Societies. So we do a lot of leadership training. So if you have an NHS or a student council at your school, they probably have done some work with us. And then we also use a platform partner to actually operate the league schedule, to do the matchups between the teams, record the wins and losses, the communications between the coaches, and that's through a company called Play Versus. And so if you hear somebody saying, yeah, we do esports, we're in the principals league, or we do Play Versus, or we do that, essentially what they're talking about is the Michigan High School Esports League, or MHSEL. Our mission is to provide a safe, competitive, and curricular environments that allow student athletes the opportunity to build critical skill sets, explore various career and college paths and opportunity, and contribute to their school's culture within esports. And our vision is to be Michigan's elite high school esports league. And that mission and vision statement was crafted by our advisory board. I'll talk a little bit about our advisory board later, but we do have a group of really passionate esports coaches from all across the state of Michigan that meet regularly just to give feedback, to provide updates, to figure out how we can improve our league, make changes for the better, that sort of thing. This fall, our season, we've got about one more week left of matches, and then we will be all done with the fall. Was our largest season to date. We had 165 schools, almost 750 teams, and over 2,200 students participating. The growth has been crazy. We started this in 2020 during COVID, during the pandemic and shutdown. We tried to think of what is something we can do that kids would appreciate, that they could do virtually, and esports was a great solution for that. We started with like 20 schools, 24 teams, and so in 5 quick years, it's really exploded, and I anticipate our spring to be significantly bigger than it was even this past fall. So some quick facts for you. We have a fall and a spring season for both middle school and high school. We have up to 13 different game titles available. That would be for high school. I have a slide that breaks down. We have a few less games for middle school. And then within our high school and middle school, we operate 3 different leagues. So we have a high school league. Sometimes we run varsity and junior varsity divisions within that high school league. We have a middle school league. Again, they have 7 game titles. Our fall season is scholastic, meaning it's just really for fun and for the experience of being there after school and participating and competing. The spring season will mirror our high school season, where it's a competitive league. You try to make the playoffs. There's this championship. And then at the middle school and high school level, we even have a Special Olympics league through Unified Esports. So if your school participates with Michigan Special Olympics, it's a really cool opportunity for both special needs students and general population students to work together as a team and to compete in some unique leagues. And we hear some really awesome experiences from all those kids who are involved in the Special Olympics Unified League. I'm going to play a quick video here from our spring championships. This was at Oakland last year. We just got done with our fall championship event on Saturday at Michigan State. I don't have the video ready. That'll be takes a couple weeks to get done, but this will just give you a really quick snapshot into understanding why it's so popular, why the kids love it so much, and why it really is growing the way that it is. And the sound really is important. Hopefully the sound's coming through. I have some captions and I'll talk through it as well. So we did our semifinal round and championships for 4 different game titles. And it's kind of like an all-day event, if you will. So kids come and check in to play their different matches throughout the day. We have seats set up for spectators to come. So this time we had 16 schools there, parents with college and universities there to scout kids. So colleges are actually recruiting kids and doing scholarships, believe it or not. When the schedule allows, we kind of do just like you see in basketball and football, we announce the starting lineups and we play music and that sort of thing. A lot of the matches are broadcasted or streamed online for others to see, which is really exciting. There's the crew from Oakland University doing some shoutcasting, which essentially is the play-by-play commentary, or color commentary, if you will. Skip ahead a little bit. So different matches, different schools from all across the state made it. So really exciting day. I will stop it there. So the way I explained it a little bit is I used to be a high school principal. We started doing the first robotics stuff in like year 1 when I was there. And I knew the kids were having fun. You know, you pop your head into the room, they're tinkering with things and building things, you know, having a good time. But then when I went to a first robotics event for the very first time, and you're watching them run up and down with their flags, music's playing, they're high-fiving, people are cheering. You're like, oh, I get it, right? And so that's where I think a lot of people who don't understand the popularity of esports, or they just think, oh, kids playing in the basement till late in the morning playing video games, right? Like kind of those stereotypes. And so when you see them working as a team together, coming out of their shell, really improving their communication skills, their digital citizenship skills, teamwork skills, because a lot of these kids, this is the first time they've ever participated in an after-school extracurricular activity before. And so I think that's just a really powerful way to get kids involved and on board. So again, I'm just going to keep going through these slides. We don't have a very big group on here. Feel free to pop a question either in the chat, in the Q&A, raise your hand. I can unmute you. Because I do want to talk a little bit about how it works on the dashboard now, how it works to get started, how the schedule works, the differences of all the games, that sort of thing. So as I mentioned, Playverse is our platform partner, and they kind of have this dashboard, this safe space that's been created to help all of our high school and middle schools compete. They work in like almost 30 different states now with leagues set up. They help with hundreds of thousands of matches have taken place, and thousands of users are on there using the system. So it's really good. So you don't have to worry about that. As a coach, you can just work on getting your team ready to play, and you'll be able to get that match in successfully. They even have a team on standby for tech support, which is what I really appreciate about working with Playverses. So you can see all the numbers there, right? So 600,000 users on the platform, they've done 100,000 matches. This is that statistic I was explaining earlier. So 45% of the kids who do esports, that is their very first time doing an after school activity. So not just football or basketball, right? They don't typically do band or drama or anything. So it's really cool to get those kids involved. So I mentioned we do 2 seasons, fall and spring. They kind of follow the semester model, if you will. So we're getting ready to wrap up fall. The competitive model has 2 weeks of a preseason, 8 weeks of a regular season, and then up to usually 2 to 4 weeks of a postseason. Again, that's for competitive play. So middle school in the spring, middle school and high school will follow that exact model coming up this spring. Here are the 13 games that are available to play. So all 13 are available for high school. Just these 7 are available for middle school. So chances are, if you show those logos to your students, these are games they're absolutely already playing. They're going to be pumped to find out that their school is considering playing that game. One of the things I want to point out is we have the written permission to actually have an official partnership with these game publishers to operate these games. It's not the same thing as copyright, but that's an easy way to understand it. There's a lot of leagues that operate, that play these games that don't have the permission from the game publishers. So at any time, they could come out and shut down certain leagues from operating. Again, a thing I appreciate about Playversus is we're on the up and up on all this stuff. It's done to the letter of the publishing company's law. And so we don't ever have to worry about that. Here is the schedule for high school. We play on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Typically, Mondays and Fridays are left open for either scrimmaging or reschedules. Having said that, any day can be a scrimmage day or a practice day. So let's say, for example, you have a Rocket League team and a Mario Kart team. So you're only playing on Thursday. Monday doesn't have to be your practice day. Wednesday could be your practice day, or Tuesday could. It really doesn't matter. It depends on your schedule. But just knowing that there's a lot going on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we purposely left Mondays and Fridays open to kind of help you get caught up if need be. All of our games for high school start at 4 p.m. However, you can get started early. So if you're one of these schools that gets out at like 2:20 and you know you're playing another team that gets out at 2:30 that week, you absolutely can reach out to that coach and say, hey, I see we're both out, get out before 3:00. You want to get this match started at 3:15? It's totally fine. Yep. We just have more like a games have to start by 4:00 so people aren't there super late. And I'm going to talk about each one of these games in a minute and how many players they take and what platform it's on. But you can see these games are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. For middle school, only 7 games. These games are on Tuesday. These games are on Wednesday. These games are on Thursday. It does not mirror the high school example 100%, partially because that's due to capacity. So if you only have so many PCs and you're a smaller school that the lab is running both middle school and high school, we wanted to kind of divide that up a little bit. So everybody doing Mario, there'd be enough switches or PCs to spread around, if that makes sense. In the fall, we started the games at 4:00. We are looking at having middle school games start at 3:30 for the spring. We heard from a lot of our middle school folks saying that they have a hard out at, let's say, 5:00, right? Kids can't be there past 5:00 for whatever reason. So we are looking at starting middle school at 3:30 instead of 4. So this is a really important slide. So I'm going to pause here for a minute and I'll be sure to answer any questions you might have. So each game is kind of like its own sport, right? So it has its own set of rules. It takes so many kids to field a team, and they're played on certain types of devices. Okay? So chess can be played on just about anything, a PC, a Mac, a tablet. You can play it on your phone. It's actually a 3-person team. Fortnite is a 2-person team. You can play this cross-platform, so you can play this just about on any device. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. You have Hearthstone is a 3-person team. League of Legends is a 5-person team. So now, you got to start thinking it takes PC or Mac. Do I have 5 computers, potentially 6 computers available to field a team of 5? Madden and NBA 2K are both solo games. So it's a one kid on each singular team. Mario Kart is 4-person team. Oh, whoops. Whoa, man, I hit some buttons. Sorry. Is a 4-person team. And they play that on a Switch. So that is specific to a Nintendo Switch. So is Smash and Splatoon. Those are all Nintendo only titles. So you must have a Nintendo Switch. Good news. Play Versus is able a lot of times, especially for new schools who join us, if they agree to play in a Nintendo-based game title, Mario Kart, Smash, Splatoon, they can hook you up with a free Nintendo Switch a lot of the times, or even the code so you can download the game and all the extra bells and whistles and characters for free. So if you sign up and you enroll, give me a shout and I'll connect you with our Play Versus reps who can hook you up with those special codes and those Nintendo bundles. Overwatch is another big 5-person team. Rocket League is a 3-person team. Splatoon is 4. Street Fighter is 3. Smash is 3. Valorant is 5. And these are all set up a little different. So, for example, Smash Brothers, 3-person team. You actually only need one Switch for that entire team because when player 1 gets done playing, they pass the controller down and then player 2 will play, which is different than Mario Kart. Mario Kart, if you can do one Switch for 4 kids, if you want to have them all share one giant screen, some kids are going to complain and they don't want that. They want their own dedicated screen. If that's the case, then each kid would need their own Switch. So it just kind of depends. So it's really important that you read through the rule book and the match day instructions. And I have links for all that stuff. So you really understand what the equipment needs are. And I also have a link that'll explain all the IT network guides for filters and things for all these games, because that's a really important piece that you'll want to send to your IT administrators. A lot of information here. Any questions? Again, feel free to ask in the chat, in the Q&A, or raise your hand and I can unmute you and we can just talk that way. No problem. Couple of just things of advice here. So think about your capacity, right? It's very easy to take all these games and put a flyer out or meet with kids at lunch or do an after school meeting and say, hey, we're going to do esports, because you have to think about your capacity. Can you actually offer all 13 of these games? Not very many schools do, especially depending on the size of your school, right? So you have to think about, like, do you have a computer lab or a CAD lab? Or PCs available? Do you plan on letting kids bring in devices from home? Are you going to go out and buy some used PlayStations or Xboxes or Switches, those types of things, right? Because if you only have, 4 PCs, you're not going to be able to do Valorant or Overwatch or League of Legends, right? So you don't even want to put that out there for kids to sign up if you don't have the capacity for it. So kind of, be considerate of that. It's absolutely fine to start small and say, something, we're just going to do Fortnite and Smash to start, or these 3 games. That's all we're going to do for this spring season. And the next fall, we'll add in more and add in more. That is totally fine. We see a lot of schools doing that as well. For that unified Special Olympics League, we have a special league for Mario Kart, which is middle school and high school both, or Rocket League, which is high school only. So really the easiest way, and you can do this today when we're done with this webinar, this is all free now. Competing in esports with MHSEL and Play Versus is free. So there's nothing wrong with creating an account. You're not going to be automatically enrolled to say you're committed to play. There's some more steps before that happens. But an easy step to get going is to just go to playversus.com and sign up and create an account. You're going to see 2 options here. You're going to want to sign up with the Scholastic. That is like the school-based, team-based leagues. The Stadium, this is like kind of random weekend tournaments that they kind of do for fun nationally. You're going to want to choose the sign up for Scholastic, and then it's going to walk you through the steps of getting your school added to the list of schools. You can set up an onboarding consultation with somebody from Play Versus to walk you through the steps of like creating teams, figuring out what games you want to play, what leagues within Michigan High School Esports League you want to sign up for, those sort of things. And again, all free, whether you sign up one team or 10 teams, totally free. One thing I just realized to mention back on this page, or actually, I'll go back to these pages, middle school and high school. Yes, you can have multiple teams on the same game title. So you can have 2 or 3 Rocket League teams. You can have, I know Fortnite's super popular, 5 different Fortnite teams. Absolutely. You could have multiple teams. Again, it goes back to the capacity. Do you have enough machines or equipment to support that? These are just steps that walk you through once you create your account, how to create in a team. It's very intuitive. It kind of walks you through this like guided process of like, all right, now create your team. What game title do you want? And then you'll be able to either add kids manually or you can send them a link where they'll be able to create an account and join your team. And these are just some screenshots of kind of what that looks like. A lot of big orange buttons on the screen for setting up your account. So a lot of kids already have publisher accounts or game accounts for a lot of these games because they play in their free time. They have certain rankings and experiences. And so they can actually attach that account to their Play Versus account. So this way they can keep that rankings and stuff affiliated with them and their gamer tags and things like that. So in terms of a coach, a lot of people think you have to be a gamer to be a successful coach. And that certainly helps if you're familiar with the games, but don't freak out if you've been asked to do this or voluntold by your administrator. Obviously, we love having teachers do this, somebody who's already in the building, who has a relationship with the kids already. Parents can be a coach, a different adult, a college student, anybody who's passed the background check essentially can be a coach. Really what we need the coach to do is to relay league information, season expectations, right? Be familiar with the rule book. Be familiar with the game day protocol of what you have to do to check in with the other coach, what you have to do to make sure your students or players are ready. What do you have to do if a kid's sick and you have to move a kid off the bench into the starting lineup for the day? Those types of things. The kids are going to roll in. They're going to plug things in, unplug things, get things set up. They know the games inwards and out, and you're going to learn about the game as the season goes on. But don't feel like you have to I'm going to run Rocket League drills for them and come up with drills, right? They're going to just play the game. They're going to practice. They're going to come up with their own drills. We just need an adult to offer a safe place with structure, hold them accountable for their behavior, encourage them, that sort of thing, right? We don't want somebody that just unlocks the door, says, all right, guys, good luck on your matches. I'm going to go make copies for the next hour and a half, right? We need somebody in there making sure everything's on the up and up. You'll be able to see your schedule. We encourage people once they see their schedule to check in with that coach first thing in the week, especially if you see a conflict, like, oh, we have a half day that day. Or, there's a PD day, so kids don't have school. They might need to play from home, or can we reschedule it, right? Moving kids up and down in terms of if they're sick or they're ineligible because of grades, those sort of things. And then check in with the other team, make sure everybody's ready to play. And all of these things are built into that Play Versus dashboard, which make it really, really simple because you'll be able to record the school, who won, who lost, what happened, to just so everyone's on the same page to verify results. There's a bunch of videos on the Play Versus YouTube account that walks you through how to set up your account, all those steps I already mentioned. Not to mention, if you want a one-on-one consultation to be able to do those, we can set that up as well. Here's some important dates as it relates to the season. Our spring season is a little weird this year because Easter is so late. it kind of was going to impact our playoffs. So we're going to get started a little bit later. So if you are playing in the MHSEL State League for middle school or high school, and by state league, I mean we have enough teams enrolled that we're going to keep things to just Michigan, right? So you're only going to play other Michigan schools, which is a majority of our games. They're pretty popular. This is the schedule on the left side of the screen that we would follow. And again, middle school, we are going to do an actual championship and playoffs for middle school for the spring. If we don't have enough teams to have a healthy sized league, so Hearthstone, for example, not a very popular game. I only have about 5 high schools in all of Michigan that play that game. We don't have enough to run that as a state. So we run that as a regional league, meaning you play other states on the Eastern time zone. So that's what's called a play versus regional league. So if we don't have enough for high school or middle school, those seasons operate a little differently. So if you have a lot of teams playing, you just want to be mindful of all of the different dates. All of the dates are built into the platform. Again, I send email reminders every single week on Mondays. So does Play Versus in terms of things impacting your league. So you should know if you can get an assistant coach, excuse me, or a parent volunteer that you want to have help you in the room. If you have a lot of teams, that would be ideal. But these are kind of the spring key dates. Same thing with the unified. We're going to repeat this 101 webinar. So if you decide there's others from your school that should really see this, we're going to run this again on January 22nd. Our enrollment deadline to get an account created and set up your teams is going to be January 31st. We're going to do a new school and all middle school training session on February 3rd. A spring coaches meeting on February 10th. And then we will get started with playoffs later into April after all of the spring breaks are done, that sort of thing. These are the 2 people that you will be connected with, depending on if you're a returning school or a new school. So most of the people on this school, I'm assuming, are new. So you will be connected with Eric. Eric is the one that will do your onboarding or consultation, should you choose to request that. He's the one that can probably hook you up with the free Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo codes if you choose to do a Nintendo title as well. There are links. Each one of these icons is a link to really cool information that explains different things. So the hardware network specifications, that is one that you will want to print off and share or email to your IT people. They do have to open up some filters and some ports. A lot of this stuff is probably shut down in your school. So you're going to have to ask them to either open it up come like 2 o'clock or open it up to a specific room. It can be done. They might say, we can't do it. All that's locked down. It can be done. We have schools that do it all the time. I'm happy to connect your IT person with an IT person from another school that's already doing this stuff, because sometimes they just talk a different language than we do to be able to figure out how to do it. There's some other links that explain how the scheduling works. So essentially, we use a smart scheduler system. So after the first 2 weeks, we figure out, like, all right, who's getting their matches in, who isn't forfeiting because of tech issues, who's doing well, and then those people will get matched up with each other, right? So if you're struggling and you're having to forfeit because I can't get my Nintendo Switch on the network, we're going to put you in a different spot to get lined up with somebody, because one of the worst things that can happen in esports is you have a school that's ready to play. They figured out their rides. I'm there Wednesday. It's 4 o'clock. I'm ready for my match. We checked in. Our equipment works. Oh, the other team can't play. They had to forfeit because they couldn't get their PCs to connect, right? That's a bummer for everybody. So it kind of explains that system. Yep, we are sending out a copy of this slide deck and the video of the recording. I'll have that ready for you to buy tomorrow. So you guys will get the slide deck, which has the links built into it. Absolutely. Again, some more resources here. I mentioned we have an advisory board that I meet with about every 5 to 6 weeks. On the dashboard, there's also tech support built in on Play Versus for you to ask a question. It'll pull up resources. It'll pull up articles that they update all the time. It'll connect you to a live league operations person that can handle your issue, usually within about 3 minutes is the average. We also have what are called super coaches here in Michigan. So these are people that have been running an esports program for multiple years with success over a lot of games. One of the things I love about our esports ecosystem in Michigan is all of these people are so good about helping one another. Not that it isn't like the cliche football players that don't want to share film and don't want other people to get in advance. Like they're so welcoming and helpful. I've had some of these coaches drive out to other high schools to help them set up their equipment before and answer questions. So all of these people in their emails are really, really good, and they would be happy to answer any questions you have. I've got big schools. I've got small rural schools on here. We have schools on the west side, schools on the east side. So we'll be happy to connect you with any of these people if you have any questions and want to pick their brain. They're just really smart people that can answer a lot of questions. All these icons right here are the rule books. It's really, really important. Even though the kids know how to play the game, we have certain rules in which how the games are played, right? So like Smash Brothers, like, oh yeah, we pick a level, we pick a character, we battle it out, and the winner wins. That's like the shorthand version. There are rules in terms of how you select a map, right? There's only certain maps you can pick from, and people are allowed to veto certain maps and characters. And so, like, each game has its own unique rules. It's really, really important that you read that rule book. So once you know what game you're going to play, read the rule book. They're not terribly long. Take 15, 20 minutes to read the rule book so you understand how many games make up a series, how long to expect to play, how it works to select characters and maps. We also have a game day protocol for each game. So again, what do you need to do to ensure your team is set up ready to play that specific game that day? Again, each one of these is a link. And all of these you can find on the Play Versus dashboard. We just tried making it easier for you in this presentation. So looking at our time here, I got about 10 minutes left. So what makes the Michigan High School Esports League unique? So we do a lot of really cool premier events, both in person and virtually throughout the season. We ran a really cool in-person Smash event at Fair State last fall. We're going to be running some events at some various high schools, looking at doing something with the Detroit Pistons and the Motor City Cruise this spring. We do a lot of our in-person championships at different colleges. As I mentioned, we have, support on standby, ready to help. I do this as a good chunk of my job, so I'm not like some volunteer that does this just in the evenings. I am available during the day should you have questions, concerns. I can meet with other people on your team. I can talk to school board members, principals, decision makers. I mentioned already, we have the publisher partnership, so we are allowed to play these games, so we never have to worry about being shut down from playing these games at any point. And that really cool state-of-the-art Play Versus dashboard, which makes it really easy to operate this league. We run webinars. We do strategy sessions on the game so people can learn more about the games. We do sessions with college coaches and directors to learn about college scholarships, networking opportunities, online courses. We've ran shoutcaster competitions in the past in esports conferences. So we try to do a lot of educational things along the way besides just events. And you can see some logos of the different schools and universities and places that have all ran events for us. This date already passed, but we were just at Michigan State for our fall championships, which had 32 different teams there playing out 4 different game titles, which is really cool. Very exhausting, but very cool. And here are some pictures from different events, just to help give you a feel. You kind of got an idea from that video we watched of getting kids together and coaches together. One thing that's really, really cool is we started doing the esports awards. So just like they get for basketball and volleyball, we pass out awards for all league, all state, coach of the year, and player of the year. So the spring was the first time we did that. We just did fall awards. And so kids get a really cool certificate. And the players and coaches of the year get some really nice plaques. I'm going to skip some of these videos for now. If you are an educator and you're in need of some sketchies, we have an introduction to esports course, which is hosted by Michigan Virtual. There's a link right there. Again, that is a free 2 sketchy course that we partnered with Michigan Virtual on. Talks a little bit about what we talked about here today, as well as just some of the benefits of esports and why schools should consider offering that for students. Otherwise, this is one of our favorite quotes to share. Esports, no matter the results, when students compete, school culture wins. So I just heard a really cool quote from one of our coaches this last weekend. She's been teaching for over 25 years. She's getting ready to retire, in fact. And she said, in all her years of educating, esports has had the biggest impact, or it's been the biggest reward for her to be a part of. It was esports, and that comes from a teacher of 25 plus years. So there's a lot of power in being able to do that. So I appreciate you all showing interest and wanting to learn more. This is my contact information, as well as Maggie. She's the assistant director. So when you reach out, you're probably going to hear from Maggie or myself, and we will help answer any questions you might have. That is all I had for this webinar session. I'll hang out, see if there's any questions. Otherwise, thank you for joining me today. I will get you this slide deck and the video recording by tomorrow. So thank you, everybody.